Change tends to happen when the current becomes too uncomfortable. And I get that's pretty deep for a bloke that's about to stick chargers to a wall, but mate, my charge wall that I built a few years ago is an absolute shambles. Why do I have a charger that's unplugged with batteries that I no longer use? And why is a dispenser on the opposite side to its charger that so happens to double pike double A's into the bin below? It's time for a change. It's time to take a step back and start again. It's time for the ultimate charge ball, that is pegboard perfection. Today we'll discover that my ruler isn't a ruler.
There's no way.
That drinks slide forwards, hose reels retract, and a $70 power board doesn't have proper wall mounts.
That's ridiculous. To me, pegboards are for the common grab and go items. The secret desk has the common tools I need in the craft room. The workbench has the common tools I need in the makerspace. And above the chest freezer is an attempt at hobbies. So bike riding gear, drones, and 3D print filament.
Whilst you may have gaming accessories, music equipment, or also store electronics and tools, as a solo YouTuber, I need my camera gear ready, and as a tech lover, my batteries and power banks charged. The bare minimum is to have batteries stored near their chargers, and devices near cables. But this isn't the bare minimum. The goal, improve every single touch point of charging my essential tech daily. And to help with 3D printing, Prusa have given me a Core 1, of which I'll share my initial impressions at the end of this video.
Remember, you don't need to buy a 3D printer or other machinery, as you can use today's sponsor, PCBWay.com. Simply upload your file, select a material, color, and quality for an instant quote to be manufactured and shipped to you. On top of a custom PCB, you can get parts CNC'd, as well as other advanced manufacturing methods. Huge thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring today's video so that I can pay my bills.
Unfortunately, there's no one worldwide pegboard standard. So with measurements of the spacing and diameter of the holes, I'll be able to create a test piece that every mount will be based off of. Except I realized that a simple square is almost one of the pieces that I need.
A big part of my charging problem is I've been using a shelf in my cupboard. It's not a problem with the shelf itself, it's with the desk. Because when I use the seamless with the desk here, the desk blocks the cupboard door from opening. So I want all of the essential tech from the cupboard on the pegboard. And when it comes to a project like this with so many parts, I think, what's the easy win? What is the smallest part I can make? Whilst looking at my microphones, I realized they all have one piece in common, the mount that goes into the camera. With measurements of the cold shoe mount, I can copy the T-shaped cutaway, making the first test piece.
All right, you ready? Little plastic piece. In, on. Wiggles a bit. I make it a bit tighter tolerances, but take the mic. It just slots in. Microphone back on. Having only square edges made it hard to slot in place, so I added chamfers to every side to help guide it into the mount. So these little feet are the perfect dimensions to push in and then down, and it slots in, and then this I can just slide in. It's not coming off. Like I could pull the freaking wall off with that. First successful mount done. I want my camera batteries to be like the drink fridge at the supermarket. So it's at a certain angle where if I put one at the back and I take, if I take one out, the next one naturally slides down. So you have to print a test to find out if it works. I realized the front lip of the tray needs to be tall enough that the battery won't almost fall out, tipping over everything behind it. Seems a AAA battery in height though is enough angle to slide forwards gracefully. It's so hard to optimize for 3D printing to use minimal supports and get the most strength and space save.
Without a doubt, making the teeny hooks hold such heavy weights being plonked into a tray is the biggest challenge. But the solution is actually from my first help guide before you try 3D printing. I've put everything that I wish I knew before I started, all the mistakes that I've learned from. So you can pick that one up, linked in the description below, the like button. God, that sounds like such a YouTuber thing to say. But I will share the actual tip of how I did it for this tray later in the video.
But for now, my dream of having a tray directly below the charger has not only come true, but exceeded as they keep the discharge order, making them more like the milk fridge. Fresh stock goes in behind, and as you take one, they fall forward. Whilst power banks are often rectangular, they have different thicknesses. Now my in-laws have this like charging tray station. It's like a dish rack. I want something similar, but I want a guide to slot them in place and hold them with a springy type mechanism. I just don't know how to make a springy mechanism. It's like, there's a flat piece, and then the piece that's like curved that gets pushed in it flat. So kind of like it's springing, right? So it needs to be like hanging off in the middle of the air.
Oh, that's not very strong at all.
What I found out is that the curve being compressed needs to be attached at both sides. I then created the shelf with multiple slots for the power banks and then modular pieces that can go into each slot. That way I can adjust the thickness in each modular piece to match the thickness of each power bank, except for my big power bank. This one is huge and has a triangular shape. So I figured I'll simply tilt it back on a shelf and it'll be heavy enough that it can't be bumped off the wall. With the Prusa busy, I knocked out prototypes on my bamboo printers and they snapped into metal hooks, which I already had.
Okay, so it fits this one. Oh, that's sick. Oh yeah, it's gonna come out at the moment. Yes. All right, let's print a bunch more of these.
Battery dispensers. They remind me of the straw machine at the cinema. I take one out, the next one falls in place. But I couldn't find a matching set for all of my battery sizes, so I started modeling my own. Then I remembered I don't like battery dispensers for rechargeable batteries because I have varying capacities. So I need to cycle through to find 2 or more matching capacities. A battery tray will let me grab any battery, but it's more fiddly. But I come up with an idea. See, I'd 3D printed this marble run, which had magnetic tape to make them fridge magnets. And so you can adjust each piece to change the speed of the ball, and my niece loves it. So I thought, what if I made the battery like the marbles? Now, they don't like to roll really far, but when they're stacked up against each other, I can pick up any battery. It doesn't have to be the one that's in front. Oh, that's a thought. So if I make the depth of this at least, over 50% of the battery body, then I can still grab the tip of any battery. I really love problem solving like this, just thinking of like how you interact with the tech to make it like seamless. For some reason, the mounts wouldn't go in without a lot of force. And the next day, I noticed the 3D print had split under all of the force, but I'd measured the entire span between each hole to the millimeter.
The Smiggle ruler and a steel rule, it's literally out by a mil.
There's no way. By 30 centimeters, it's a whole millimeter out.
So this is only for drawing straight lines now, not measuring things.
That functionality is so good. Like most of the retractable cables I saw, you like pull it and then they both go in to the center, so then the big heavy bit just dangles when it's pulled out. Whereas this, it's got a fixed amount and then it's kind of like a tape measure that like just comes out, and goes back in. Except it's not a tape measure. It's like a hose reel. The bit that goes to the tap and then this sticks onto the wall and then the hose that comes out goes back in. That's what it is. I was able to pry off the adhesive desk mount so it would be thinner when it was on the pegboard. This is the greatest part. USB cord, charge a power bank, finished with it. Done. It's the details. I'm a very visual person, so there's no surprise that things that I like have crept their way into places they shouldn't be. For example, this was a build on YouTube, by Tofu Auto Works. He made it in his garage, and then Hot Wheels made it an actual mini car. And whilst I love this bag Alpaca gave me because it matches my desk,
see-through,
it blocks my camera bag, which, come to think of it, has gear that should be on the pegboard. It was whilst I was removing the non-essential, I remembered what the top half was for. This hook held my VR headset, and these hooks held each of the controllers. But when I sold it, I just whacked up an LED tube, as my body would cast a shadow being the dark side of the room. 36mm diameter. And I was gonna make like a circle that you can just like slot it over and hold it in place, but the cable is right where the dots align on the pegboard. But then I realized it doesn't have to be a full circle. I can just cut out the section for where the cable is. It'll still hold it. With the light at this distance, I can put the microphones behind it and then down into their mounts, so it's no longer consuming pegboard real estate. It's one thing to plan where something will go, it's another thing to design how it will go there. I often get asked why I use Tinkercad instead of my more powerful software, and that's simply because it's free. And I don't mean free but non-commercial usage, or free that makes all of your files also public. It's just free. You own the full rights. And I want to show you that you can use the simple tools to create really cool things. Right, Mosby Pocket 3. This is like a multi-combo. Gonna go down, in the case, and then I can pull the camera. The case will stay on the wall. I can put the camera in and out. Or if I'm going to travel and need to take it somewhere, grab the case, pull the case out. A double combo! And it works! You might be wondering, Cam, what's with the second phone? Well, Google Pixel Generation 1 phones have unlimited photo and video backup to Google Photos. Now, I used to have this in my server cabinet, but it got too hot and the battery swelled. So after paying a local repair shop, shout out Geekly, to replace the battery, I figured it would be best to keep in the open air and easily accessible to clear the backed up photos. But here's the thing. When I was modeling the cold shoe microphone mount, there were models that I could have easily adapted. But since it was a simple design, I just made it myself. But for the phone, I figured I could find a 3D printable phone case, trim it down to the section that I need, add the pegboard hooks, and now I've got a custom pegboard mount for a phone. But that new phone battery will die quickly unless I automate charging. I bought the smart power board from TP-Link called the P300. The 3 must stand for the 3 controllable outlets and 0 for the 0 USBs that can be controlled. And it cost $69. The left-hand side has a little cutaway for the head to go down, and this side, there's a big piece of plastic there. And so the bolt goes in and it just hits that piece of plastic. It can't go into the pocket. Honestly, I just can't believe I paid $60 for a power board and the wall mounting piece doesn't work unless I cut a piece of plastic out of it. That's ridiculous. The head of the bolt will now go down and in to the slot on either side as it should. Okay, so I said I'll tell you my secret tip on making heavy objects like batteries hang off the teeny little hooks on the pegboard. So I've 3D printed the same piece 3 times. However, in the 3D printing slicer, it was oriented either face down, standing upright, or laying on its side. And that's relative to, I guess, the shape, but essentially the worst option is the laying face down, as its hooks are only joined at a point of the cylinder. The second worst orientation is standing upright, as its hooks are only joined through the top layers of the 3D print, which leaves us with the best orientation for this print laying sideways. As when force is applied through the hook, as it would with a heavy object on the pegboard, well, it just bent the print because the hook's layer runs all the way through the body. This is from the Strength with Orientation page of my 3D printing guide, and it's just one of the many tips.
tab. I broke my own rules.
I have a feeling this will work. There's the foam on the screen side, so that doesn't get scratched. Slots in. I was too worried to throw this down on a potentially scratchy surface. Oh, that just hugs it so nicely. I've outdone myself. This is bloody beautiful. Oh. Yes. Yeah. Oh, my days, dude. Pull it out. I can even pull it up, it doesn't even come out. No way. This is the coolest power bank station.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
I thought of an idea that I hadn't seen done before. But before I order the part, I need to check the total weight of everything. What? It's only 5.4 kilos? I guess if I can curl it pretty easily, then yeah. It's not heavy at all. This person's made exactly what I'm after, and they've got this push-in version, so I can just like clip it straight in. All right, it's going from the computer through the internet down to the printer. It's downloading. To hold the cables in place as they wrap from the front to the back of the pegboard, I need cable management clips. It says it's for the American 1-inch. I like the idea. After recreating the cable clip for my Aussie pegboard spacing, I realized I'd made the little feet too short, so they didn't clip in great. However, when I extended the clip, I realized I could add a hole the same diameter as the cable. Every cable management clip that I put in is also cable management for the back side. I don't even know how I thought of that idea. Just was like, I need a way to keep the cables organized in the back. Why don't I just make little pinches like a crab claw to hold them? By removing the USB power supplies from the front of the pegboard, I'll get a lot more usable space. But how do I put them on the back? What the heck? Can you see that? How wonky that is? I knew 20 bucks was cheap, but they bent this one too far, and so they've had to bend this one less to make it at least meet. I'll have to fix that. 10? Yeah. Initially, I was going to add hinges, but they would need reinforcements on the wall as the stud was in the center of the pegboard. Then I remembered TV wall arms screw in at the center of the mount. The Amazon listing didn't say I had to swap washers around to make it work, but it was the cheapest mount I could find out there. So cheap that a bolt chewed out the box on the bracket that goes against the TV. Half an hour of my life I won't get back, but look how smooth that is. Whoa, baby. What I love most about 3D printing is being able to create the perfect part that I simply couldn't buy. Sure, I can buy spacers and feet to hold it from the wall, but this perfectly sized spacer with an adjustment hole allows me to screw into the wall and then into the pegboard so it doesn't accidentally pull back away from the wall.
Before I share the cherry on top features that I've added and the minor future improvements I can foresee, as promised, here's my first impressions of the Prusa Core 1. It's good, but it could easily be great. It's high speed, has an enclosure, it has all the smart features I want, like auto bed leveling, but the app is frustrating. Please, Prusa, put the notification that's on the printer in the notification that goes through the mobile phone app so I actually know what happens instead of just telling me to attend the printer all the time for useless things like a firmware update.
Well, I need to personally inspect for new firmware? Who cares?
I completely forgot, they give you gummy bears. As for quality, I was sent the assembled version, which doesn't require tuning, but I did notice VFAs or vertical fine artifacts on straight walls. These are amplified by shiny filaments, such as the Galaxy Black PET G from this project, and after a month of use, I decided to tune the belts and found the left was out of range. And after also increasing print speed, I'd say the sides are about the same quality as this print here from my Bambu Lab X1C in this project. And they all look better than this part on the printer that was printed by Prusa's printer in the factory. Finally, although mods exist online, I'd like an official silicone nozzle wiper upgrade kit. I don't want to have to keep manually brushing off PET G, and make the default time zone automatic. I don't have to manually set my UTC. But all in all, the fact that you can take an old Prusa Mark IV's and buy an upgrade kit to make it this Core 1 is incredible. Like, planned obsolescence has left the chat. Well done, Prusa there. And also love that they've got things like this little GPIO board that you can plug into the printer and then wire up your own custom electronics to program and send commands. There is so much stuff for nerds to love, but for the price they're asking, I'd like some of those user experience improvements that I mentioned.
Oh, don't tell me this won't fit.
You can only learn from your mistakes by making a mistake in the first place. But it still feels shit.
I wanted the power board under the pegboard. Thankfully, the mounting points that I fixed on the power board attached to its section of the bracket fine, but for the pegboard end, I didn't consider how I would hold the nut in place of the adjustable recess slot as it kept falling out.
Oh no, that's a bad design.
Instead of wasting filament and printing again, what if I could swap the side that I intended the bolt and nut to go on?
It all comes down to moments like this. All right, it's out the other side. Screwed in, metal tray over the top.
Let's freaking go! Yes!
Now the power board's on, I can plug everything into power. I heard a relay click. Phone's on. Power to them. Yes, lights on. Screen, light. Do you light up? Maybe it needs a battery in it? Oh, I'm kind of like, you know how like you get, oh. Yeah, I've got chills because this has really just come together so well. Like when I started this, I didn't think I'd be so excited about a charging wall because I had a charge wall, but it was not being used practically at all. And now every single piece of tech has its own improved charging method that I will use every single day. That is really exciting.
I bought these magnetic cables with USB-C tips to add into my microphones. Now I can simply snap them on and off charging. Used a paint marker to paint any non-black cables and shiny bolts. And after treating myself to new AA's, I painted colored rings so I can easily track wear in pairs. Adding to the already awesome feature of keeping discharge order whilst taking any battery variant. Please remember that things don't go as planned. Like, I wasted so much time trying to make battery mounts for this metal bracket that I had. I hate wasting materials, but it wasn't practical to reuse it, unlike reusing the metal hooks for the power bank trays. I can also really beat myself up during the process with how long certain things take. But in the end, the modular power bank slot inserts having a chamfer so they don't slide out when pulled horizontally, but I can take them out vertically to swap the arrangement or sizing is worth the time that it took. In contrast, to save time, I did use double-sided nano tape to stick on the chargers as they don't need to come off the wall. But then I wasted time rebuilding my M1 Starfighter after my light hit it and smashed it into pieces. But this made me realize I should hang my ornithopter with fishing line from the vent as well, so I have more space on the shelf for all of the things that were on the pegboard. I'm just gonna say it again because I'm really excited, but link below the like button is my 3D print guide for beginners. As for improvements, I made this headphone hook so I can easily charge them from this retractable wall charger. The problem is I need to make some clips to hold it against the power board because if I pull it in and out multiple times, which is not intended to do whilst it's plugged in, well, it works itself loose. As for the hose reel style cable, I only bought 2 because I wanted to test the quality being 20 bucks each. And I don't like that scratchy metal sound. So I ordered some from AliExpress that have faster charging and an LED wattage screen, and they'll fill up the blank spaces beside the existing cables. Now, I will have to convert one of the cables into 5-volt legacy charging because my non-compliant action camera and this rechargeable 9-volt battery via USB-C, nothing happens with them on a power delivery USB-C charger.
I went over a solution in my previous video by using USB-C to A to C adapter cables or C to B to C to force that 5-volt charging on non-compliant devices, but since the retractable cables are already USB-C to C, I'd need to either use what Noxus Ninja pointed out in the comments of that video, something like the resistor fixer from Adafruit to force 5 volts, or the AliExpress cables include a male A to female C dongle to force 5 volts, but if these are missing a 56 kilo ohm resistor, then they can be dangerous if used with a power supply that can't supply 5 volt 3 amps. I went over the whole dilemma in my previous video. Oh, and I fixed accidentally double piking double A's into the bin by simply putting the charger on the opposite side.
Ultimately, every element of my charging process that's done daily has been upgraded. And I've just been smiling every day, bro. Like, it's so freaking cool. If you liked today's video, thumbs it. If you loved it, sub it. And I'll catch you in the next one, which will be a tech review. And then we're going to use the knowledge I've learned from this in the makerspace. A couple upgrades there.